Well, I don't need to tell you. I would have done the same thing in your shoes. But what do I know about heroes? The dead three in that bulging brain of theirs are a threat to more than this trifling city, you know. Do it, and I'll let you off your leash. A devil always keeps her promises. Drop the attitude and perk up your ears. You've got a new mission. Oh, I was just thinking of Will's father, the Grand Duke. So you talked to Floric, the city's most loyal servant, positively outraged to hear how Will failed his father. Well, perhaps I might pay a visit once he's settled, offer some advice. A bit of infernal altruism, if you will. Choose a hell. Have your fill. I think I'll nip out for a bit. Stretch my wings. And don't be too hard on her, pup. Don't you remember? Go on. Do your gloating. You've earned it. And I'm not done with you yet, pup. Our future together looks real bright. And dark as the newest moon. But there's something missing, isn't there? Correct. I didn't. Clause Z, Section 13. If the soul binder consents to separation, she will release the soul bearer from all obligation within 6 months. Oh, I almost forgot. You sold his life for your freedom. My mistake. To the slaughter, the way I hear it. Heard about your father. The Absolute's puppet. A damned travesty, if you ask me. Do you feel it? Avernus, where hell's legions march, screaming their rage. Where the Styx collects the blood of the fallen. Oh, don't let him spoil our fun. Come at me, sister. See what happens. Now, get to moonrise. And do mind the shadows. They've been especially hungry. Now, you know what they say about curiosity and cats. Far from it. It wrecked me to see Will's father come to such a cruel end. I'm just an impartial observer. This is Gortash's game. A murderous one, the way I hear it. I'd hoped for more from you, sister. I'd hoped you were ready to come home. I've never seen such a fearless display of sheer idiocy. Bravo. Will, buddy. I thought it was time I drop by the doghouse. You do not call upon the sisters. They come when the hells demand witness. Oh, don't be so hard on yourself. I'm sure you carefully weighed the pros and cons. And to think, the drama's just started. Pro, freedom. No more pact, no more hell-bound soul. Con, killing off his own father, Baldur's Gate's most beloved duke, and forever altering the city's future. Now, let's not bring Mummy into this. This is between us girls, isn't it? So, you talked to Floric, the city's most loyal servant, positively outraged to hear how you failed your father. Yes, let's. I've never seen such a fearless display of sheer idiocy. Bravo. Interesting. Now, why should I go letting my favourite pet off his leash? I bet you're pleased with yourself, saving your father and making a fool out of me in a single swoop. Ravenguard's good as dead. And to think, there's no way to save him. I'm going to show you the true wages of your sin. The clause holds, Will. Don't tug on my leash, and you'll be stalking only the wickedest prey. Hells! What's happening? What have you... The one and only. What a shame. Ravengard, Eltan, Baldur's Gate has lost its brightest stars. Sounds like an easy choice to me. Clause G, Section 9. Target shall be limited to the infernal, the demonic, the heartless, and the soulless. Don't you worry. That ship has long sailed the Styx. But a defiant pup must still pay his price. To wit, all that anger in you, Karlach. That pent-up fury and desire. It felt good to unleash them on the one person who could possibly understand. Didn't it? Now, to Moonrise, pet. And do mind the shadows. They've been especially hungry. More to the point, you obeyed. Someone will need to step up and lead in their absence. A man with the spirit of a dragon. I thought as much. You moaned like a dragon thrice struck with a broadsword. Well, I can trust it'll get done. Don't take long. They pop a tadpole in me and the hells'll take Will for good. Dead serious. Don't let the smile fool you. Don't worry, pet. I won't leave till you're fully satisfied. Will, you absolute stinker! You kept me a secret? Time to let the Hellcat out of the bag. Or is there? Is it a shame, though? Is a single soul not worth the return of Baldur's Gate's most beloved duke? Yeah. So, get to it already. Well, at least you got to pay your last respects. I've no reason to lie. He's gone. For good, some might say. But not every death is forever. You won't be waiting long. We had a deal, Will. But Karlach's still breathing. Well, look who the Lady of Silver dragged in. How else? We bargain. And then you kill the poor Duke yourself. I'm nothing if not impressed. He's upstairs in Worm's Rock, ordaining Gortash as Archduke. My pet's been unruly, and Ravengard died knowing the face of his killer. And that's not the half of it. I call the first hell my home. Avernus, my mistress Zariel's realm, a torrid battleground split by the bloody waters of the Styx. As well you know, Will. Clause Z, Section 13. If the soulbinder consents to separation, she will release the soul-bearer from all obligation within 6 months. Still the Blade of Frontiers, is he? Never let it be said Will isn't consistent. He can roam where he wants, until he gives me a reason to tighten the leash. Oh, but you made no complaint when our flesh met for the first time. Or the 10th. And radiant with her ladyship Zariel's blessings. I'd like to see him try. Poor kitten's utterly powerless without my help. If you must know, I was scouting the cultists on behalf of Zariel, but those cursed shadows were thick enough to fell even a half-fiend. But if he messes with Zariel's faithful, he'll be turned to a lemur and answer to the Archduchess of Avernus. And I bet you're full of ideas. Can't you feel it, pet? Where my lips scorched your skin. How your soul's frozen over. Sweet spot you've found for yourself. But I wouldn't get too cozy. After all, we've got a deal. Oh, but you will. Well, I imagine you have business in Moonrise to take care of. If I were you, I'd get moving. Astarion? What a pleasant surprise. I must have drawn more blood than I intended. Clause Z, Section 13, the Lemure Clause. Could have sworn we covered this. It's a win-win. Yes, celebrate your fortunes. But remember, but they are lost as quickly as they are gained. Didn't think you had it in you. Seems my boy's all grown up. The pleasure of torment. The torment of pleasure. Will, my pet, I was hoping you'd bound along. Not for the greater good, you understand. Just for the entertainment. Fine. I'll play your game. But I amend the pact once the mission's done, not before. Savour her company. Who's to say when Zariel might change her mind? The mad assassin herself. Strike her down, Bug. Let her syndicate fall. The brain won't be too far beyond. If it isn't little Will, straight to your handler. And I didn't even have to whistle. I've always been the giving type, after all. Now. Have some manners. It's not polite to dig around in a lady's mind without her permission. Grand Duke Will Ravengard. What a thrill. Imagine the statues they'll build, the songs that they'll sing. Will, you've been naughty. You wound me, pup. I admired your father. He was a man of the people, the grandest of dukes. I call the first hell my home. Avernus. My mistress Zariel's realm, a torrid battleground, split by the bloody waters of the Styx. As well you know, Karlach. But a brave, kind, benevolent soul set me free. Gallantry isn't dead, after all. Clean yourself off. Brimstone is an ill perfume. What's done is done, Will. And a defiant pup needs discipline. To wit. Clause 1, Section 1. Soul-bearer pledges his soul to half-fiend Mizora and the archdevil Zariel in a pact eternal. Besides, now is a time of celebration. I am sure you and Duke Ravengard have plenty to talk about. The fire of Avernus courses through you, and you know only I can bear it. Take a swing or a stab if you want, but I'll just slip away for a breather. One of the perks of being a half-devil, of course. Well, perhaps I might stop by once a 10-day, see how the pup's getting along. A bit of infernal altruism, if you will. Clause F, Section 9. Soulbinder shall bestow reward or favour only upon soul-bearer's fulfilment of related obligation. That's better. Besides, now is a time of celebration. I am sure you and your father have plenty to talk about. What a laugh! To deprive yourself of the hell's lavish vices. Cunning, am I? Ah, you see me as a schemer, an exploiter. You've pegged me wrong, Will. My sparkling disposition will have to do. An obedient pup. Pure perfection. Why, only the truth. That you bear the blame for the Duke's untimely demise. You say that, but minds can change in the span of a snap. And not every death is forever. No contract is ended without sacrifice. A cost must be paid. Go on up. Pay Gortash a visit. A fate to remember, I guarantee. I've got some errands to do, but don't you fret much, pup. I'll be back in 3 shakes of your tail. Absolute's cult has gone and grabbed one of Zariel's assets. A devil, and a powerful one at that. But I do enjoy a game of cat and mouse. Let the Grand Duke give chase. I might even let him catch me. A promise made, a promise kept. Well, if they're not revolted by those hideous horns. Speaking of, is it possible Could the courageous Will Ravengard be this heartbreakingly naive? Call me Mizora. I'm Will's patron, the fount of his power. Your warlock friend is my puppy. I'd have thought you'd figured by now. Zariel found a new use for an old battle axe. And I'm not done with him yet. Our future together looks real bright. Ready and waiting. Yes. You're curious. Your eyes are lit like raging stars. You want what only I can give you. We had a deal. But Karlak's still breathing. Since you ask so nicely. What a relief. It would be a shame if she'd struck down the one and only blade. Cheer up, Buttercup. Karlak had no heart. You did the world a favor. Playtime's over, pet. Zariel sends her regards. Seems you've got a new mission, pup. Go save your father.
Is it? Please, enlighten me.
Now, you've got business in Moonrise to take care of.
Why, perish the thought. Every word was nothing less than true.
Oh, you always were an inquisitive one.
Now, open the pod.
Wrong on both counts, pet.
That ship has long sailed the Styx, Will. A defiant pup pays the price. To wit.
Now, too late, Flower. You'll never be rid of me. Once the Absolute is no more, so is my aid. Poof! There go your warlock powers. Oh, how the people will applaud their courageous Grand Duke. Now, Minthara. Can I help it if I'm too tempting to refuse? Focus on the elder brain, Will. I'd hate to clog that infected head of yours with needless details. Besides, if you did manage a killing blow, I wouldn't be the only victim. Killing the fiend known as Karlak. She's been a thorn in the Archdevil Zariel's side. Karlak's not just the Hell's problem now. She fled Avernus on the same ship you hitched a ride on. I'll keep the whole devil pulling his strings hush-hush. I promise. And the drama's not over. Not by a long shot. But what about the next battle? And the next? How mighty will the stalwart blade be without warlock powers to help him? They're locked up in the cult's fortress, Moonrise Towers. And you're getting him out. And don't go fussing about your father. You made your choice. You knew the terms. Come now. Don't be hard on yourself. I'm sure you carefully weighed the pros and cons. Alas, she misses the fallen Duke. Someone will need to step up in his absence. A man with the spirit of a dragon. A matter of perspective. I'm sure you'll agree. Have it your way. I'll just have to imagine the pup's horrified look if we'd done it. Why, only the truth? That you bear the blame for your father's untimely demise. Karlak's fled Avernus on the same ship you hitched a ride on. Leave the obscenities to Karlak. Coming from you, they sound positively unseemly. You haven't introduced me to your friends. Where are your manners? What a laugh. To deprive yourself of the hell's lavish vices. Which reminds me.
All done? Good. Now, enough sniffing around and get me out of this thing.
Meet me in your camp. I've got a devil of a proposal. Tell me, darling, how is she? The terrible tyrant himself. Strike him down, Bug. Let freedom's bells ring. The brain won't be too far beyond. Compliance. Just as it should be. But I'll be damned if it goes pissing on mine. Young Will would be sucked into Avernus and take up arms in the blood war.
Why, Perish the thought. Every word was nothing less than true.
A splendid shindig, I hear, perfect for crashing. Go on up. We'll talk after. And bring the pup along, if you can.
Poor little Will. Such a tragedy. His own father, cut down in his prime. Damn shame, if you ask me. Now, by Grazit's cock, get me out of this thing!
But I do wonder, just how mighty will the stalwart blade be without warlock powers to help him?
Oh, heartbreaking. I bet you thought I'd be impressed. You should be.
Oh, do wipe that frown off your face. This is what you wanted, after all. Wild little thing. You don't find her and cut her down, she'll burn the whole coast to ash. You'd be sucked into Avernus and take up arms in the blood war. Oh dear, the pangs of remorse. Is it our night you regret, or the fact we were caught? Tonight, then. Be ready. But she's not just the Hell's problem now. She fled Avernus on the same ship you hitched a ride on. Ah, the thrill of the unknown. I can't wait to see how this epic plays out. Clause F, Section 9. Soulbinder shall bestow reward or favour only upon soul-bearer's fulfilment of related obligation.
A promise broken, a price paid. You know the terms.
Don't worry, I won't keep too tight a leash. You scratch my horns, I'll scratch yours. Yelp all you want. You belong to the Hells. He's the blade of frontiers. Devil's plaything just doesn't have the same ring. But don't forget who signed away his own father's life when he's finally bled. You will. Only you. Look at him. Staunch as an iron-cast statue, proud as a lion after the hunt. What brings you by? I am a woman of my word. Go to Gortash's secret prison, and I'll help you spring your daddy free. What a shame. Ravengard, Floric, Baldur's Gate has lost its brightest stars. And here I thought you'd be grateful for the final goodbye. Choose. Was it? You screamed like a banshee in a bathhouse when you climaxed. Me, darling. And you can have your turn too, if you learn some manners. I'm afraid that's not an option. I'm quite stubborn, you see.
Not going to happen. But I do like your spunk. Besides, you've got bigger fishes to fry.
You don't owe me an explanation, pet. He was as good as dead before you ever set foot in the Iron Throne. That was the deal, after all. You say that. But minds can change in the span of a snap.
All that power. And to think you want to throw it away.
Sir Duke. Marvellous. You are already giddy with power and possibility.
Go on and gloat. Bow to your pretend crowd. How precious. The little pupster's found his bark.
And his leash needs a yank. Tell me, pet, who's your first target? The clause still holds. As long as Will doesn't tug on my leash, he'll be stalking only the wickedest prey. Oh, and what condition is that? Be a good boy. Bring me her head for dessert. I've a sweet tooth, and devils on the menu. That's no kind of talk for a lady. By the way, Karlak, impossible. My bargain was uncommonly reasonable. The other 8, well, they are pleasures unto themselves. I pity those who can never know them. Such is the lure of power, I suppose. With your father gone, the people will look to his heir for direction. I tell you what,
When the time comes to squish that big baddie of a brain, I'll lend you a hand. Till now, I've tossed you the hell's scraps. Tonight, pup, tonight, you binge. Now? Oh, but I'm just getting comfy. And I know the famed Blade of Frontiers would never stand for that. Pro, freedom. No more pact, no more hellbound soul. Con, killing off your own father. Baldur's Gate's most beloved duke, and forever altering the city's future. Why look for hidden meaning when the words are laid so bare? I got what I wanted. So did you. Take me, and know the essence of the hells. I say fetch, and he'll fetch. I say kill a fugitive tiefling, and you have the best ideas. Sisters. Trust me, I shan't be making that mistake again. Ta-ta. Goodness! I hardly expect such obscenity from the heroic Blade of Frontiers. The mad assassin herself. Strike her down, pet. Let her syndicate fall. The brain won't be too far beyond. Malbolgia. The desolation. The forgotten ruins of Maladomini. Cania and its mountains of ice. Or Nessus, the seat of infernal power. But don't forget who signed away his own father's life when Ravenguards finally bled. To wit, go to Gortash's secret prison, and I'll help you spring your daddy free. Or don't, and know the eternal ache of the unknown and the unanswered. My dumb little stinker. Took you long enough. Little Will's all grown up. I can't wait to see what trouble he gets into. Incredible. You actually think you hold the winning hand. Oh, and Will, don't forget, our pact still stands. Ta-ta. With pleasure. As long as you're willing to give in. One spark, and the hells were yours to devour. A pity for you. The one taste is all I'll give. What do you want? I'll just have to imagine the pup's horrified look if we'd done it. The same thrills I offer you. Some experiences are better when shared. Far from it. It wrecked me to see your father come to such a cruel end. Think again. Clause Z, Section 13, the Lemure Clause. Could have sworn we covered this. Playtime's over. So, perk up your ears. You and the pup have a new mission. But you mess with Zariel's true faithful. You'll be turned to a lemure and answer to the Archduchess of Avernus. But I understand. You have appearances to keep up, charades to play. Well, apart from the whole devil pulling the strings aspect, of course. You crave elations unknown on this mortal plane. Something more satisfying than flesh, blood, and bone. My sparkling disposition will more than suffice. Get used to the new form, pet. There's no going back. Some magic even I can't undo. Trapped like a rat. Humiliating. My, what a mess. I'll get the Duke to the submersible. You can take care of the clutter. Well, perhaps I might pay a visit once you've settled. Offer some advice. A bit of infernal altruism, if you will. Back so soon? Handler's the word, if it's all the same. Call me Mizora. Your dear friend Will is my little puppy. Think again. Clause Z, Section 13, the Lemure Clause. Could have sworn we covered this. Why? I'm supplying Will with every scrap of his infernal power. I've paid my dues many times over. Dear me, I've overestimated you. Last I checked, you were the only one of us tied to a leash.
You're stuck with me for good? Entertainment? I'd be a cheeky devil indeed to make such diabolical merry.
You'll never be the same.
I stayed true to the bargain. Isn't it a relief to know I'm always good for my word?
The 9 hells of Beator. The ultimate torment, some souls would say. I do so love when someone does the work and I get all the credit. I'll just have to imagine your father's horrified look if we'd done it.
I would have done the same thing in his shoes. But what do I know about heroes?
Why the stunned face? You look like you've seen a devil.
You've got it all wrong, Bug. Will killed his father. His wish, my command.
That's no kind of talk for a lady, Karlach.
They do have cats where you come from, don't they?
Ignorant thing. It's always the terms and conditions that get you. Reach out. Have a taste. Yes. You're curious. Your good eye is lit like a raging star. You want what only I can give you.
Let's meet Will in your camp. Work something out.
Where your rightful mistress shoulders the burdens of perpetual war. Well, look who's snuck in from the shadows. Karlach, darling, how good to see you.
And you, not a mark on you. You burn just as hot as myself, dear sister.
By all means, struggle and seethe when I come for Zariel's prize. Play the hero. Put up a fight.
Oh, I almost forgot. Will sold his father's life for his freedom. My mistake.
Your moans of ecstasy told me otherwise.
Option 2. I break your pact, and you are freed from your duty. Your father dies by his enemy's hand, and Baldur's Gate loses its greatest champion.
Ta-ta for now.
Your contract, Will. Signed in blood, forged in fire, bound in bone, but not unbreakable.
Not going to happen, but I do like your spunk.
Oh, heartbreaking.
I bet you thought I'd be impressed.
From now on, I promise him the same measure of respect he's shown his father.
How good to see you. Fiat ita. And he's been a very good boy.
With the Duke and his closest confidants gone, someone will need to step up in their absence. A man with the spirit of a dragon.
Fina, Cirrus, arbiters for the hells, exemplars of justice.
But don't you fret. If you survive this place, I'll find you. The pup will be needing me. Count on it. All that for the measly cost of 1 soul. A real bargain, don't you think? Such language. Didn't your father teach you any manners?
I am positively full up on warlocks, and you are already claimed. What I offer is free for your taking. You want to save your father, meet me in camp. Maybe we can work something out. Incredible! You actually think you hold the winning hand?
You flatterer. Why, if I had a warm heart, I'm sure it would be skipping.
By Aldenac's arse, get me out of here! Such a good boy you are. I've trained you well. But a quick review of the rules wouldn't hurt.
Something on your mind? Do you suppose? I'd call the timing most perfect, myself.
Glower all you want. I was merely laying the path to your success.
A duke's son, perhaps. So you talked to Cordula. Such an elegant woman, so protective of the city, so eager to hear of your exploits. Now, stand back and enjoy the show. Handler's the word, if it's all the same. Oh, sister, I'm going to make this very worth your while. I'll just have to imagine your friend's horrified looks if we'd done it.
All done? Good. Now, enough sniffing around and get me out of this thing.
You see, Gortash has had your father relocated.
By Grazit's cock. It's about time you came.
Catch up. Give you a pat. I'll be keeping mine on you. It was good for me. Was it good for you?
Why not?
Don't be too hard on Will. I'm sure he carefully weighed the pros and cons. What torment it must have been to see the Duke's corpse rotting in the Iron Throne. I know you can, sister. You know just how much the hells can hurt. You and me always made a good team, eh? Now, don't blow it, pup. No second chances this time. Ravengard will fall. I will strike when the Duke has the most to lose, and I have the most to gain. Option 1. I raise your father from the dead, and you pledge your soul to me and the Archdevil Zariel in a pact eternal. Keep an eye on him, will you? You're hungry for pleasures beyond this plane, something more satisfying than mortal flesh, blood, and bone. Cunning, am I? You see me as a schemer, an exploiter. You've pegged me wrong, little bug. A single soul for the return of Baldur's Gate's most beloved duke. A real bargain, I should think. Come knocking before you've settled in. I may be half devil, but I'm no monster. You always were your father's son. Incredible. You actually think you hold the winning hand? Someone who needed a bargaining chip. Whoever could that be? I know enough. I'll be in your camp if you want to work something out.
I'll be damned. You want to free the pup from his pact.
A bargain's a bargain, and I've come to see it through. Oh, how the people will applaud their courageous hero. All that trouble I went to. The planning, the anticipation.
That's the best you've got? Incredible. You actually think you hold the winning hand?
Goodness me, for all that, a lone soul is a bargain.
As for the pact...
Good boys get treats. Bad boys? Well, let's not think about that till we need to. You dug your own hole, pup. I merely supplied the claws. I'd start caring. And quick, sunshine.
Now enough sniffing around and get me out of this thing.
Oh, I almost forgot. Will, you absolute stinker. You kept me a secret? Time to let the Hellcat out of the bag. Karlach, keep an eye on him, would you? Why, Gale, is that a hint of jealousy I detect? My pup here's been unruly. Don't worry, I won't keep too tight a leash. He scratches my horns, and I'll scratch his. I wouldn't miss this for all the souls in the city. Call my name, and I'll bring the hellfire. Far from it. I'm positively wrecked to see my poor Will orphaned like this. I think I'll nip out for a bit, stretch my wings. And don't be too hard on him, pup. Don't you remember?
I am a benefactress, and I have an eye for a good cause. Will needed help, so I indulged him.
Besides, I've already got a pet. But he's been unruly. Glower all you want. I was merely laying the path to Will's success. Let's see how well he suffers the burn.
Ooh, I do love when you get nasty. The blades always had an edge.
Such a loyal servant of the city, so eager to hear of your exploits. Tell me, darling, how is she?
Or is he?
I wanted to reward you.
The point? Oh, yes. Thanks for the reminder.
My poor little pupster. A free trip on a mind flayer machine, and all you've got is a brain bug to show for it.
You either mount a quick rescue, or you condemn Will to an eternity sizzling in the hells.
If only Will were here to see this. This is what he wanted, after all. Your words, not mine, pup. Besides, you could have undone it all in a snap. I beg your forgiveness for such undue impertinence. Lucky for you, I know the way in. I'll mark your map. After all, a deal's a deal.
The pup can roam where he wants, as long as he gives me no reason to tighten the leash. Hard to think he's forever lost to us.
His only son, perhaps. And do mind your messes, Will. I won't always be there to clean them up. Oh, don't be so hard on him. With his daddy issues and all, he's had a rough go.
Then we'll keep it our little secret. Hand to beating heart. You haven't introduced me to your friend.
Where are your manners? You did all right, Will. I'd give your belly a good rub, but never could stand the smell. Turn that frown around, pup. Your chum's got all your best interests at heart.
Such a shame. And to think, there's no way to save him.
To his death, the way I hear it.
Tell me, little bug, who should Will's first target be?
Your dad's good as dead, pup. And to think, there's no way to save him. Clause Z, Section 13. The Lemure Clause. Could have sworn we covered this.
Tell me you haven't forgotten. Once the absolute is no more, so is my aid.
By Grazit's cock, it's about time you came. I've never seen such a fearless display of sheer idiocy. Bravo! Devils, demons, deserters. They're a great burden on the Lord of the First.
Judging by the zeal with which you tore into my flesh, I think it's the latter. Imagine the battles he's still to lead once you've flattened the absolute.
Heard about his father. The Dead Three's puppet. A travesty, really. No one crosses the Hell's Children without getting scorched. Will's a gifted hunter, and Zariel's made her share of enemies in and out of the Hells. Karlak, since when has flattery been in your bag of tricks?
Oh, and go ahead. Tell your chums how we met. It's a real cracker of a tale. Ta-ta.
Hunger. You missed me. How sweet. The best bloodhounds are always the most loyal.
Halcyon, you saucy thing. Have those biceps of yours gotten even bigger? Clause F. Section 9. Soulbinder shall bestow reward or favour only upon soulbearer's fulfilment of related obligation. Now, let's see how the frontiers fare without their precious blade. I think I'll nip out for a bit. Stretch my wings.
And don't be too hard on them, pup. Don't you remember? Well, your playmate's wasting precious time. Let's see about getting her priorities fixed.
You sizzle, like brimstone, glow like hot iron. Rude. I'm just an impartial observer. This is Gortash's game. A murderous one, the way I hear it. Stay focused. I'll keep Daddy Duke safe. To wit. Go to Gortash's secret prison, and I'll help you spring Will's daddy free. The legend lives. Oh, how the people will applaud their courageous hero. Since I made you a devil, the heat of Avernus burns ever hotter in you. Poor thing. You've had a tough go, and you don't know the half of it. Feeling cheeky, are we? Most unbecoming. How precious. The little pupster's found his bark. Kill me? I wouldn't recommend it. I die, and Will turns to a lemure and gets sucked right down to the hells. Compliance. Just as it should be. Don't worry. A good handler disciplines only her own pets. To wit... Hello? Anyone out there? Always a pleasure. Shame that tadpole's gone and pissed on your party. You turned the pain of the damned into impossible pleasure. Addendum F. The Absolute must be avenged for the Soulbinder's detention at moonrise. The Soulbearer retains his gifts until such time as the Absolute is slain.
Think again. Clause Z, Section 13, the Lemure Clause. Could have sworn we covered this.
But trust me, dearie, the pleasure was all yours. But that would make your sacrifice worthless, and I know you wouldn't want that. Rude. This is Gortash's game. I'm just an impartial observer. I've had my eye on you. Your attention, little pup. Nothing more. And you'll be glad to give it. Think again. Clause Z, Section 13, the Lemure Clause. Could have sworn we covered this. You may not like it, but you'll crave it in spite of yourself. A pity for you, the one taste is all I'll give. Oh, heartbreaking. I bet you thought I'd be impressed. You know what? I think I'll stick around. Ooh, you have found your bark. I beg your forgiveness for such undue impertinence. Like I said, I'm the giving type. Forever marked. It's not just a contract that binds us. A splendid party, I hear. Perfect for crashing. Go on up. We'll talk after.
Don't take long, puppy. They pop a tadpole in me, and the hells will have you. For good.
Flaming hells. Time's running out. You know, I think I'll stick around. Watch this play out. I could use the entertainment. Ahem. Clause Z, Section 13. Should promised soul refuse obeyance or neglect duty, the pact holder shall cast the promised into Avernus as a lemure. I know enough. Let's talk to Will in your camp. Work something out. Oh, let's. So much for the selfless hero.
You wouldn't want Will to get sucked into the hells, would you?
Your father's dignified bearing and seething annoyance are thanks enough. You and me, Duke and advisor. Baldur's Gate's outlook is radiant indeed. I'll let you two catch up. I'm sure you've got plenty to talk about.
Clause F, Section 9. Soulbinder shall bestow reward or favour only upon soulbearer's fulfilment of related obligation.
Option 2. I break your pact.
You are freed from your duty, but retain your devil form. Your father dies by his enemy's hand. I never thought the legendary Blade of Frontiers would surrender his father for freedom. Still yourself, pup. Not every death is forever. Option 2. I break your pact, and you are freed from your duty. Your father remains dead, and Baldur's Gate loses its greatest champion, forever marked. We may not be pacted, but the hells still bind us. He'll have his pick of the prey. Within reason, of course. I am a benefactress, and I have an eye for a good cause. You needed help, so I indulged you. Poor thing. He's had a tough go, and you don't know the half of it. And a good handler knows when her pup needs correction. To wit. And you thought that idiotic display would do it? Oh, bravo. To think I went through all that trouble, only for you to land the final blow. One last choice, and starve no longer. I just never expected you'd speed up the process. You're a terrible liar. Your time in Avernus taught you nothing. Which reminds me. Come, sisters, be my testament. Notum sit in Beator. But I know the truth. I see the change. You turned the pain of the damned into impossible pleasure. Well, after jumping through all those hoops, a little treat wouldn't hurt. After all, you've been a very good boy. Now, to Moonrise, pet. And do mind the shadows. They've been especially hungry. The thrill of the unknown. I can't wait to see what's in store for Baldur's Gate's newest Grand Duke. But do tell me you haven't forgotten. Once the Absolute is no more, so is my aid. I'll make it simple. Will fails or refuses, and he turns to a thick blob of stink flesh and sinks to Avernus. Playtime's over. Get me out. Ugh, heartbreaking. I bet you thought I'd be impressed. Paranoia doesn't become you, my dear. Call me Mizora. I'm Will's patron, the fount of his power. My pet's been unruly. By Grazit's cock, it's about time you came. Enough sniffing around. Get me out of this thing. Have your pick of the prey. Within reason, of course. Tell me, pet, who's our first target? You see, Gortash has had Will's father relocated. Not very valorous, if you ask me. But what does a mean old devil like me know about heroes? You're forever marked. Can't you feel it? Where my lips scorched your skin. How your soul burns with flame. Oh, but do hear me out. You want what I have to offer. Come for a chat? Do you now? Mistress Zariel will be pleased to hear it. Those souls lack imagination. A life for a life. No contract is ended without sacrifice. The cost must be paid. I'll just have to imagine your friend's horrified looks if we'd done it. So, what's your first order of business, Sir Duke? I say fetch, and you fetch. I say kill a fugitive tiefling, and
The pup dug his own hole, darling. I merely supplied the claws. I'm irresistible. I am a woman of my word. Go to Gortash's secret prison, and I'll help you spring Will's daddy free. I woke in that damned pod. It kept my body sealed and my most powerful magic silenced. The terrible tyrant himself. Strike him down, pet. Let freedom's bells ring. The brain won't be too far beyond. You've been a bad boy, Will. I'd say your leash needs a yank. What's the matter? Don't you trust me?
And you figured I'd be impressed by that little display? Oh, heartbreaking.
Will, your playmate's wasting precious time. Let's see about getting their priorities fixed.
Ta-ta.
Oh, and ask Will how we met. I've loosened his tongue. It's real cracker of a tale. Ta-ta. The dead three had such big plans for him. Seems someone else had even bigger ones. And sharp as Vlaakith's own silver blade. But there's something missing, isn't there? The Duke's life is not all that's at stake. Such a touching reunion. It's enough to bring a tear to my eye. Fine, I'll play your game. But I amend the pact once the mission's done. Not before. Do it, and I'll let Will off his leash. A devil always keeps her promises. Let it be known, a devil always pays her debts.
I'll be damned. That's the best you've got.
Obedient thing. Oh, I love to see it.
Go on and gloat. Bow to your pretend crowd.
Karlach meets the criteria, pet. Trust me on this. Karlach meets the criteria by virtue of having no heart. My mistress can be so capricious.
You may not care, but Will does.
To think how you starved yourself up to this moment. To think how you chose the sweet over the bitter. Damn it all, where is he? Questions, questions! You're wasting my time! Let's see about getting your priorities fixed.
The new contract is enough. That and my sparkling disposition.
Just because he's not my pet doesn't mean he's not useful. I think I'll nip out for a bit. Stretch my wings. Trim my talons.
Now, you've got business in the towers to take care of.
Oh, well, maybe Monster isn't so far off. You don't owe me an explanation. Like most other mortals, Ravengard was always bound for the grave. All that time together, and you still find ways to surprise me. I had no hand in your father's death, Will. But that doesn't mean he might not still live and seethe like the river Styx. But there's something missing, isn't there? Yet no contract is ended without sacrifice, Will. The cost must be paid. Now? But I'm just getting comfy. I promise you the same measure of respect you've shown your father. Your father is dead, Will. The dead three have claimed their prize. Let me show you. You've been defiant. And defiance requires discipline. To wit. Oh, and go ahead. Tell folks how we met. It's a real cracker of a tale. Ta-ta. I'll make it simple.
You fail or refuse, and you turn into a thick blob of stink flesh and sink to Avernus.
Playtime's over.
Get me out!
I call the first hell my home, Avernus, my mistress Zariel's realm, a torrid battleground split by the bloody waters of the Styx. I won't lie, pet, you drew a lousy hand. But folding's not an option when your soul's on the line. You're a gifted hunter, pup, and Zariel's made her share of enemies in and out of the hells.
Funny girl. If Will so much as touches a faithful of Zariel, never mind her ladyship, he'll be turned into a lemure and left to rot in the deepest pit of Avernus.
A sealed pact is mightier than even Asmodeus's ruby rod.
Do you think by merely saving a duke that you were ripping it through?
Don't you fret. I'll find you soon enough. You're going to need me. Count on it. Ugh, you are an inquisitive one. What did I tell you? A momentous occasion. I'm sure you agree. One taste, one indulgence, but the delicious agony remains. A pity for you, the one taste is all I'll give. Now, why should I go letting my favourite pet off his leash? I'm talking of the mundanity of a life ignorant to the thrills of the 9 hells. I just didn't expect you'd take it so literally. Thought you'd have figured it out by now. Will? Will! My, aren't we eager? Well, look who it is. I was hoping you'd bound along. An ungracious warlock, so unbecoming. Savour it, sister. Who's to say when Zariel might change her mind? Will Ravengard, a choice is before you. The other 8, well, they are pleasures unto themselves. Perhaps I'll show you myself, if I deem you worthy. I am a woman of my word. Go to the Iron Throne, and I'll help you spring Will's daddy free. Oh, I do love when you lot get nasty. I've always appreciated your sharp edges. I've never seen such a fearless display of sheer idiocy. Bravo! Fine, I'll play your game. But I amend the pact once I'm freed, not before. Last I checked, none of us was tied to a leash. Right, I'm out of here. I need a long bath. I'll leave you to your very serious business. How I adore it, the delicious agony of it all. A nice new power should keep you muzzled. Well, not exactly, but it's only a matter of time. Hush, pup! A good warlock knows when not to push his luck. I think I'll nip out for a bit, let you 2 lovebirds chirp. Who would I be to meddle in personal affairs? I prefer advocate. Has a nice ring to it. Bastards! Can't conjure so much as a fireball in this thing. A banquet lies before you. Why should you not gorge? The Duke's life depends on it. Silence, Karlach! I'll just have to imagine your father's horrified look if we'd done it. Yes, to kill the absolute, to free the infected, to end the illithid grand design. Could there be a more heroic journey? Smile, and I'll come to you when you put your head down to rest. I will sate your most forbidden lusts. Roam where you want, pup. But don't give me a reason to tighten the leash. I know you want me, Karlach. You don't want to want me, of course.
which makes the longing all the more agonizing.
You've got it all wrong, Pup. You killed your father. Your wish. My command. With the Duke gone, someone will need to step up in his absence. A man with the spirit of the dragon. Well, I imagine you have business in Moonrise to take care of.
Dis, the blackened Elysium.
Menauros,
The rotting bog. The molten seas and soil of Thlegathos. Stygia, the frozen ocean.
you've jumped through enough hoops. A little treat wouldn't hurt.
Been waiting a while for this. One strike for every day I spent locked in that damn pod.
Good work. I'd give you a gold star, but I'm fresh out.
But at least you got to pay your last respects.
What a laugh. To deprive yourself of the hell's lavish vices. Now, enough sniffing around and get me out of this thing.
Mia Furia. Kneel for me.
So, what's our first order of business, Sir Duke?
Clause A, Section 2. Should sole holder choose to abandon his patron, he is freed from his duty. His father, Grand Duke Ulder Ravengard, will be thus fated to die by an enemy's hand.
The 9 hells of Beator.
Each its own domain, each with its own archdevil to rule it. You've been an ardent hellhound and hunter, Will, ever so eager to please. But I've seen something new.
Your words, not mine, Pup. Besides, he's looking much better now. Wouldn't you say?
The absolutists worked a number on me at Moonrise, and you're the best hope I've got at payback.
Oh, what a laugh. To deprive yourself of the hell's lavish vices.
I am not so easy to be rid of. I come to bargain, and the hells demand witness.
Hot as brimstone, jagged as lightning. Ta-ta for now.
For now, you've tipped the scales in your favor, but all it takes is a whisper for me to tip them back.
You feel it, don't you? Primal hunger, irrepressible decadence. Forget the heavens. This is paradise. The blade of Avernus.
How marvelous. It rolls right off the tongue.
Just because you're not my pet doesn't mean you're not useful.
Meet me in your camp. I've got a devil of a proposal.
Enough waiting around. Let's give it hell, shall we? I'd hate for him to miss the fun.
And seething like the river Styx. But there's something missing, isn't there?
Of course you will.
Ta-ta.
A man of the people, the grandest of dukes. Hard to think he's forever lost to us.
I come to bargain. The hells demand witness.
Poor little Will. Such a tragedy. Your own father, cut down in his prime. Damn shame, if you ask me.
Karlach, honey, if you won't do it for me, do it for him. Name your sacrifice.
Interesting. Now, why should I go letting my favourite pet off his leash? Why?
I'm supplying you with every scrap of your infernal power. I've paid my dues many times over.
Of course,
You could always leave him to rot.
another one. Well, after jumping through all those hoops, a little treat wouldn't hurt.
Don't be so hard on him. I'm sure he carefully weighed the pros and cons.
Me? I'm out of here. You? I don't play tarot. You're such a witless little thing. Laugh in the face of the Archduchess Zariel, and she only laughs back.
Meet me in your camp. I'll lay everything out.
Sorore surge, testis esto pacti me.
Option 1. I show you the way to your father. I guarantee him no harm except that from you and your allies. And you pledge your soul to me and the archdevil Zariel in a pact eternal. Let's meet in your camp. Lay everything out. Focus on the elder brain. I'd hate to clog that infected head of yours with needless details. On the contrary, my dear, unlike you, I know just where to bite. I'm saying that someone stepping off stage doesn't have to mean the end of their story. You've been my private hellhound and hunter, Will, ever so eager. But I've seen something new. Fine, I'll play your game. But I amend the pact once I'm freed, not before. If you ask me, that's where Our Lady should have left you long ago. That's the spirit. Go get her, tiger!
I thought you'd never ask.
Exactly what you asked for.
Still the blade of frontiers, are you? Never let it be said you aren't consistent. But that would make Will's sacrifice worthless, and I know you wouldn't want that.
As for the pact, you forgot the fine print. Half devil, hun, and I'm no dream. But if I were, I'd be the baddest. And you know what happens when you're naughty.
Who should Will's first target be? I assume Zariel's old pet will have an opinion on the matter.
Indeed.
A bargain's a bargain. And the man who skirts a sworn pact is living on borrowed time.
Oh, you flatterer. Why, if I had a heart, I'm sure it would be skipping. Will, your playmate's wasting precious time. Let's see about getting his priorities fixed. Now, be a good boy and play fetch, pup, or you'll spend an eternity sizzling in the hells.
Demons are fair game. Zariel's enemies, likewise. Devils threatening the Sword Coast, fine by me.
He's locked in a very nasty place. Gortash's secret command center and prison.
I bet you're pleased with yourself. Saving Ravengard and making a fool out of me in a single swoop. I've never seen you so giddy, Karlach. Go on, celebrate your fortunes, but remember that they are lost as quickly as they are gained.
If it isn't little Will's chums. I hope he hasn't been too much trouble.
Will! I've never seen you so giddy, Will. Go on, celebrate your fortunes, but remember that they are lost as quickly as they are gained.
Ta-ta! Clause G, Section 9. Target shall be limited to the infernal, the demonic, the heartless, and the soulless.
The ecstasy of agony, the pain of the damned, distilled into pure bliss. Beyond every climax you've known, the little death writ large.